The Galactic Coalition Academy floated in calm orbit around Virex Prime, a giant silver ring full of bright lights and quiet halls. Students from many worlds came here to learn about space life and strange creatures. Most of them came from soft, gentle planets, where danger was just a story told to young ones. The Academy kept everything safe and clean so nobody got hurt. Today, the advanced xenobiology class met in a big round room with clear walls. The students sat in curved rows like petals around a she-flower. They were Alori with soft feathers that changed color when scared, Lyrith whose bodies looked like living crystals, and Vaughn with long tentacles that waved slowly. Professor Thalvix stood at the front. He was tall with 6 arms and kind eyes. He came from a world of endless gardens where nothing ever hunted anything. "Good morning, class," he said in his calm voice. "Today, we have something special. We will learn about real predatory minds, not just words from books. We have a guest from a hard, large world." The students made small sounds of worry. Some pulled their chairs closer together, others touched buttons on their wrists to make tiny shield bubbles just in case. The big doors at the side of the room opened with a soft hiss. A strong, clear field appeared around the middle of the floor. Inside the field stood a big creature from Korath. It had 6 strong legs covered in black fur. Its eyes glowed red like hot coals. Long, sharp claws clicked on the floor when it moved. Its mouth showed teeth like white knives. The class called it Razor because nobody knew its real name. Razor was a Class 9 hunter, almost as smart as people, but born to kill. Many students gasped loud. The Alori feathers turned bright white with fear. The Lyrith crystals dimmed to gray. The Vaughn tentacles curled tight around their own bodies. Professor Thalvix raised 2 hands. "Please stay calm," he said. "The field is very strong. Razor cannot reach us. This is to help you understand fear and power in nature." Razor walked slow, on circles inside the field. Its tail moved like a whip. It looked at every student with hungry eyes. Then it stopped. Its head turned fast toward the small side door of the room. A new student walked in late. He wore a plain gray academy suit. No bright colors, no extra armor, just simple cloth over a normal body. He was not very tall for his kind. His hair was short and brown. His face looked calm, like he walked into a normal room every day. This was Jax, Harlan the human from Earth. Jax looked around the room. Once he saw all the wide eyes and tight bodies, he gave a small polite nod to Professor Thalvix. "Sorry I'm late," he said in a quiet voice. The lift was slow. He walked to an empty seat near the front row. He sat down and took out his small data pad. He looked ready to listen like any other student. Razor made a strange sound. It was not a growl. It was something lower and tighter. The big predator stopped walking. Its red eyes locked on Jax. The tail stopped moving. The claws pulled in close to the body. Razor. I toward Razor then, toward Jax. Interesting. Toward Razor. Then toward Jax. Interesting, he said. Maybe the new student has a special smell from his world. Some Deathworlders carry strong scents. Jax looked up from his data pad. He saw Razor staring. He gave a tiny smile. Not big, just friendly. Then he looked back at his notes. Razor took 1 step back, then another. The predator lowered its head. Its ears went flat against its skull. A low whine came from its throat. The sound made the Alori cover their ear holes. One Vaughn student raised a tentacle. "Professor, what is happening to Razor? It never acted like this before." Professor Thalvix moved closer to the field. He watched with careful eyes. "This is new data," he said. "Korath hunters show no fear to most species. They see weakness and attack, but this one shows something different." Jax raised his hand in a calm way. "May I? I looks thirsty." The class made surprised looks thirsty. The class made surprised noises. Why would a human care about the monsters? Comfort Professor Thalvix checked a small screen. "Yes, there is water and fresh meat. But Razor has not eaten since we brought it here yesterday?" Jax nodded slowly. "That's not good," he said. If it's hungry, it gets meaner. Razor heard the human voice. Its head lifted a little. The red eyes blinked. In fast. Then it did something nobody expected. It walked to the edge of the field closest to Jax. It sat down on its back legs like a big dog waiting for orders. Its tail curled around its body. The growl was gone. The room became very quiet. Only the soft hum of the station air moved. An Alori student with bright blue feathers spoke in a small voice. Human, why does it listen to you? Jax shrugged his shoulders. I don't know, he said. Maybe it just knows I'm not scared, that's all. Professor Thalvix looked at Jax. And for a long time, then he spoke to the whole class. This is a good lesson, he said. Fear is not always about size or claws. Sometimes it is about what lives inside. Sometimes the most dangerous thing is the one who does not run. Jax went back to writing on his datapad. Razor stayed sitting by the field watching him with calm red eyes. The other students stared at the human like he was a puzzle they could not solve. Outside the big windows, the stars moved slow and bright. The academy kept turning in its quiet orbit. But inside the xenobiology room, something had changed. A Deathworld predator from Korath sat quiet and still, because one human from Earth walked in late and took a seat like it was nothing special. The class would remember this day for a long time. They came to learn about monsters. But the monster learned something too. It learned that not every creature acts like prey. And sometimes the real shock is not the hunter with claws. It is the quiet one who smiles and sits down without. A few weeks passed after that first strange meeting in the xenobiology room. The students tried to go back to normal lessons. They took notes on predator hunting patterns. They watched safe videos of Korath beasts chasing prey on their home world. They even did group talks about fear responses, but nobody could forget what happened when Jax Harlan walked in. Razor stayed in the big clear enclosure, now moved to a side lab next to the main classroom. The professor kept it there for more studies. Every few days the class came to watch controlled tests. Professor Thalvix wanted to show natural predator behavior without real danger. He used small robot animals that looked like prey from different worlds. The robots ran and jumped and made scared noises. On most days, Razor acted like the perfect hunter. It crouched low, its muscles bunched under black fur. It waited patient. Then it exploded forward with terrible speed. Claws ripped metal, fur flew, sparks flew. The class always jumped back. Even though the field kept everything safe. They wrote notes about speed, strength, and killer instinct. But the moment Jax entered the room, everything changed. One morning, the class gathered early. Jax was not late this time. He walked in with his usual calm steps and took the same front seat Razor was already pacing inside the enclosure, hungry for the next robot test. The professor started the machine. A small, furry bot, shaped like a ground runner from Leyrath homeworld, dashed across the floor. Razor lunged fast. The bot zigzagged. Razor followed perfect. The students leaned forward to see the kill. But then Jax coughed once. Just a small sound from clearing his throat. Razor stopped dead mid-leap. It twisted in air, landed awkward. Its head snapped toward Jax. The red eyes went wide. The tail dropped low. Razor backed up slow, step by step until its back hit the far wall of the enclosure. It crouched low, ears flat, making small whining noises. The robot kept running in circles, ignored. The class stared, mouths open. And Lori, our student, dropped her datapad. It clattered loud on the floor. Professor Thalvix paused the robot. He looked from Razor to Jax. What just happened? He asked. Jax shrugged. I don't know, he said. Maybe it doesn't like my cough. The professor checked his notes. This makes no sense. He said, Korath hunters ignore all outside sounds when they hunt. They lock on prey and nothing breaks focus. Yet this one reacts only to you. A Vaughn student waved 2 tentacles. Maybe the human has special pheromones. Something inhuman. I sweat makes predators submit. Jax laughed quiet. Not sweat. He said I showered this morning. The class did not laugh. They looked worried. Over the next days, more strange things happened. During a lesson on pack behavior, Professor Thalvix brought in a second small predator, a young Korath cub, not yet dangerous. The idea was to show how adults teach young ones to hunt. The cub bounced around playful. The adult Razor watched from its side of the divided enclosure. Jax sat quiet, taking notes. The cub saw him. On first it froze. Then it ran to the edge closest to Jax and sat staring up with big, curious eyes. Razor growled low at the cub like it wanted to warn it away. But the cub ignored its parent. It pressed against the field, pawing at the air toward Jax. Professor Thalvix stopped the lesson. He walked over to Jax. "May I ask what you ate today?" He said. "Normal food," Jax answered. "Protein. Bar some fruit from the cafeteria." Why? The professor pointed at the cub. "It wants to play with you. Not hunt. Not hide. Play like you are safe." Jax looked at the cub. It wagged its short tail fast. The adult Razor growled louder but stayed back. Another day, the class did a smell test. They passed jars with different scents. Some sweet, some sharp. Some bloody Razor smelled each one and reacted normal. Growls for blood interest. For meat. Calm for plants. But when a student held up a small cloth with Jax, sent from his gym shirt after exercise, Razor went crazy. It ran to the field, pressed its nose against the clear wall, sniffed deep, and then it rolled on its back paws up, belly showing the softest fur. The class gasped loud. "Why does it do that?" asked a Lyrith student whose crystals flashed pink in shock. "Submission pose," said Professor Thalvix. "In Korath culture, this means I am no threat. Please do not hurt me. It is rare to see from adults." Jack scratched his head. "That's weird," he said. "Back on Earth, cats do that when they trust you." Cats asked many voices at once. "Small predators from my world," Jax explained. "They hunt mice and birds, but they live with humans. They sleep on our beds, beg for food, roll over for belly rubs." The class looked at each other. Some laughed nervous. Some looked scared. A whole species of small hunters that chose to live with Deathworlders. During one night study session, a few brave students stayed late to watch Razor alone. The lights were low, the lab quiet. Razor slept curled in a ball, but when Jax walked past the window on his way to dorms, Razor woke instant. It stood up, pressed against the field, followed him, saw with its eyes until he was gone. Only then did it lie down again. The next morning, the whole class talked about it. They made theories. Maybe humans have invisible sound waves. Maybe human eyes send signals. Maybe Earth makes special fear chemicals in the air. Jax heard them all. He just smiled. Small and kept quiet. One afternoon, Professor Thalvix set up the biggest test yet. He wanted to show dominance play. He asked a strong Vaughn student to stand in front of the field and make the challenge pose. Arms. You wide tentacles spread loud voice. The Vaughn did it brave. The class held breath. Razor looked at the Vaughn. It growled deep. Took one step forward. Then it glanced at Jax, who sat eating an apple 3 rows back. Razor froze. The growl died in its throat. It backed away, tail between legs, sat down and looked at the floor like a scolded child. The Vaughn student lowered his arms. Confused. "I didn't even do anything," he said. Professor Thalvix turned to Jax again. "Human, please explain." Jax finished his apple, put the core in his pocket. "I didn't do anything either," he said. "It just knows." "Knows what?" asked the professor. "That am not food." Jax answered simple. "And on my world, things that aren't food can be very dangerous to hunters." The class went quiet. They looked at Jax different now. Not like a normal student. Not like prey. Not even like a hunter. They looked at him like something new. Something the galaxy had never seen before. Razor stayed sitting, staring at Jax with calm red eyes. The big predator no longer paced, longer snarled. It waited patient. Like it knew the real lesson was not about claws or speed. It was about the quiet human who walked in late one day and changed everything without even trying. Outside the station, stars kept shining cold and far. The academy turned slow, but inside the lab, a Deathworld beast from Korath learned something nobody expected. It learned to wait. It learned to watch. It learned that some creatures do not run, and that makes them the most frightening thing of all. Mid-semester. Arrived fast. The academy buzzed with extra energy because of the big joint event. Security Tactics Wing and Xenobiology class worked together for a special exercise. They called it Predator Response Simulation. The goal was simple. Let students face a controlled predator threat and learn how to stay calm. Think clear and reach safety. The exercise happened in a large holographic arena, shaped like a thick jungle from Korath homeworld. Tall fake trees, thick vines, misty air, and hidden dangers filled the space. All students got basic gear, stun pistols that shot soft energy pulses. Harmless, but enough to slow a beast down. Maps on wrist screens showed the extraction point. Bright green dot at the far end. Teams formed random. Some had 4. Some had 5. Jax ended up with 3 young Vaughn cadets. Their tentacles shook a little when they saw the predator icon move on the map. Professor Thalvik stood at the control podium with security officers around him. "This is not a hunt," he said loud. "This is training. Razor will be released under triple containment fields. It cannot truly harm you, but fear will feel real. Stay together, use your tools, and reach the endpoint. The best team shows smart prey behavior, not brave attacks." The class nodded. Many still nervous. Razor waited in a transport pod. Its red eyes glowed through small viewports. The beast looked bigger in the dim light. Teams entered the arena. One group at a time. Jack's group went third. They stepped through the energy door into thick green mist. An air smelled wet and earthy. Sounds of distant animal calls echoed from hidden speakers. The Vaughn cadets stayed close to Jax, their tentacles wrapped around stun pistols tight. "Ready?" asked Jax in a calm voice. The Vaughn nodded fast, but their skin color turned pale gray. The simulation started with a soft chime. Razor pod opened. The beast stepped out slow at first, sniffing the air. Then it moved faster. Its 6 legs carried it silent over the ground. The other team's reports came over. Comms loud. "It's coming. On toward us, I see it, stay back." Stun shots fired, harmless blue flashes lit the jungle, but Razor ignored every other team. It turned its head, sniffed once, then it locked on one scent. It broke into a full run, straight toward Jack's position. Branches snapped under its weight, leaves flew. The ground shook a little with each powerful step. The Vaughn cadets froze. One dropped his pistol. Another made a high, scared sound. Jax looked at the charging beast. He did not run. He did not hide. He stepped forward into a small open clearing between trees. He squared his shoulders straight. He looked right into Razor's red eyes. Then Jax did something simple. He pulled his lips back wide, showed all his teeth in a big, steady grin. No sound, just the smile. Eyes open wide, staring hard, unblinking. Razor ran full speed, then it saw the grin. It skidded hard. Claws dug deep lines in the dirt. The beast almost flipped over from the sudden stop. Its body slid forward a meter before it caught balance. Razor stood frozen, legs shaking. A tail tucked tight between hind legs, a long, high whine came from its throat. Not angry, not hungry, scared. The whole arena went quiet. Even the fake jungle sounds faded for a second. Other teams watched on drone feeds. Their mouths open wide. Jax kept the grin steady. He did not move closer. He did not back away. He just stood there, teeth showing, eyes locked. Razor took one step back, then another. The whine grew louder. It turned its head away, broke eye contact. The big predator crouched low, almost on its yak's belly. It crawled backward. Slow paws dragging fur, brushing dirt. It looked small now. Not like a killer, like something trying to disappear. Jax relaxed his face. The grin faded. He spoke soft. "Come on, guys. Let's move to the point." The Vaughn cadets stared at him like he was magic one. Tentacle pointed. "We didn't even shoot." "No need," said Jax. It already knows. They walked forward careful. Razor stayed far back. It followed at a distance but never came close. It kept trees between them like it feared being seen. When, yes, students gathered in the center, many students gathered in the center, many shaking. Some laughed nervous. Others whispered fast. What was that? He just smiled, and it ran away. Professor Thalvix walked up fast. His 6 arms moved quick with worry. Jax, what did you do? He asked. Jax wiped sweat from his forehead with one sleeve. Nothing special, he said. I showed teeth, and looked straight at it. Works on big cats back home. Works on bears. 2, sometimes wolves. Bears asked a Lyrith student. Crystals flashing bright orange. Big animals on Earth, said Jax. They hunt. They kill. But if you stand tall, look them in the eye, and act like you will fight, they often leave. They don't like fair fights. The professor pulled up drone video on a big screen. Everyone watched Razor charge full speed. Then the skid. The whine, the retreat. The class made soft sounds of shock. A security officer stepped forward. That beast is bred to ignore fear. Displays Korath hunters see eye contact as challenge. They attack harder. Jax nodded. Maybe here they do, he said. But Razor learned something different today. Learned what asked Professor Thalvix. That some prey bite back, said Jax simple. And some prey don't even need to bite. They just need to look like they will. The Vaughn cadets stood close to Jax now. Their tentacles touched his arms, gentle like thanks. One spoke quiet. You saved us. Human Jax smiled small. Not really. He said Razor wasn't going to hurt us. It just needed to remember who was boss. Word spread fast through the academy. By dinner time, students from other classes came to look at Jax in the cafeteria. They stared quiet. Some took secret pictures. Razor got moved back to its main enclosure, but logs showed new behavior. The beast refused food unless Jax appeared on the monitor screens. When his face showed, Razor ate calm. When he left, it paced and whined. That night in dorms, the Vaughn cadets talked, on to their friends. They told the story again and again. The grin, the stare, the skid, the fear. In a Class 9 hunter, Jax lay on his bed looking at the ceiling, stars through the window. He thought about home, about forests, about mountains, about animals that ruled the wild until humans learned one simple trick. Don't act like food. Act like the thing that scares the monsters. Outside the station spun slow. The galaxy turned quiet. But inside, one human from Earth had shown something nobody expected. On Deathworlder could shock the class. Not with claws, not with speed, but with a smile, a stare, and the quiet knowledge that, on his world, the scariest thing was never the predator. It was the one who refused to be afraid. The exercise ended, but the real lesson just started. Razor learned it first. The class would learn it next. And somewhere deep in its hunter mind, the big beast understood. One small change had happened. A new alpha walked the halls. Not loud, not big. Just calm. And that calm was the most unterrifying thing of all 1.3 seconds. Fast after the simulation ended, the academy felt different. Students walked quieter in the halls. They looked at Jax when he passed. Some whispered. Some just stared. The story of the grin that stopped a Class 9 hunter spread like wind through leaves. Everyone wanted to know more, but nobody asked Jax direct. He stayed the same, calm, quiet, polite. He ate meals, read books, went to classes like nothing big happened. Professor Thalvix could not let it go. He watched the drone. The footage again and again. Late at night in his office, he played the moment over. The charge, the skid, the whine, the retreat. He zoomed in on Jack's face, the wide, steady teeth, the unblinking eyes, the calm that should not exist against such a beast. The professor felt something new. Not fear, not wonder. Something closer to respect mixed with confusion. The next morning, he sent a message to Jax. Please come to my office after last class. We need to talk. Private Jax arrived on time. He knocked soft, then entered. Or to the office was big, with plants from many worlds growing in pots. Soft light came from floating orbs. Professor Thalvix sat behind a wide desk. His 6 arms rested calm, but his mandibles clicked nervous. "Sit, please," said the professor. Jax sat. He looked around once, then back at the tall teacher. Professor Thalvix pulled up the big screen. He played the footage without sound. The charge, the stop, the retreat. He paused it, right when Jack's grin appeared. He turned to the human. "What did you do to that creature?" he asked. Jax leaned back a little. "Nothing," he said. "I just looked at it." "You looked at it," repeated the professor. His voice rose higher. Korath hunters do not submit to looks. They see eye contact as a fight signal. They attack more fierce. Yet Razor fled, like it saw death itself. Jax nodded slow. "Maybe it did," he said. "Not real death. But the idea of it." "Explain." "Please," said Professor Thalvix. "I have studied predators for 30 cycles. I know their minds. I know their instincts. This makes no sense." Jax thought. And for a second he spoke careful. "On Earth we have many big hunters. Bears that weigh 5 times my weight, cats with teeth longer than my fingers, wolves that hunt in packs, crocodiles that wait silent in water. All of them can kill a human easy, but most times they don't. Why not?" ask the professor. "Because we learn to make them think twice," said Jax. "We stand tall, we make noise. We look straight at them. We show teeth. We act like we are the bigger danger. They usually walk away. They want easy food. Not a hard fight." Professor Thalvix stared long. His eyes narrowed. "But you carried no weapon, no tool, no armor. You were alone." "That's the point," said Jax. "If you need weapons to scare something away, then you're not scary enough. The real trick is to be scary without anything extra. Just you. Just your body. Just your mind." The professor replayed the footage again, this time slower. He watched Razor's face change from hunter hunger to sudden fear. He saw the legs shake, the tail tuck, the whine start. He turned back to Jax. But Razor is not a bear, not a cat, not a wolf. It comes from a world where everything hunts everything. It has no natural fear of bipeds like you. Jax gave a small smile. Maybe not before he said, but now it does. Professor Thalvix stood up. He walked to the window. He looked out at the stars turning slow. "Why does it calm when you are near?" he asked. "Why does it eat only when your face shows on the screen? Why does it follow your steps with its eyes?" Jax shrugged. "Simple. Because it knows I'm not prey, and on my world, predators learn fast what is prey and what isn't. Once they learn you're not food, they either avoid you or they try to join you." "Join?" asked the professor. "Like dogs," said Jax. "We took wolves long ago. We made them our friends. They guard us. They hunt with us. They sleep by our feet because we were the scariest thing they ever met, and we chose not to kill them." Professor Thalvix turned fast. "Dogs? You compare a Class 9 Korath hunter to a dog." "Not exactly," said Jax, "but the idea is close. Hunters decide the best way to live is next to the thing that scares them most. They give respect, they give loyalty, they give trust." The professor sat down again. He rubbed his mandibles slow. "This changes many things," he said. "Our lessons teach that prey survives by running or hiding or fighting in groups. We never teach that prey survives by becoming the nightmare of the hunter." Jax nodded. "That's because most worlds don't have Deathworlders like Earth," he said. "We grew up with everything trying to eat us. And so we learned to flip the script. We became the thing that makes hunters think twice." Silence filled the room. Only the soft hum of the station air moved. Professor Thalvix spoke quiet. "I see now why the class fears you more than Razor. They see claws and teeth and know what to expect, but you. They don't know what to expect, and that makes you more dangerous." Jax laughed soft. "Not dangerous," he said. "Just different." The professor looked at the frozen image on screen again. The grin, the stare, the fear in red. Our eyes. He turned off the screen. I will update the lesson plans. He said, we will add a new section, Human Predator Response. It will not be about running. It will be about standing. It will not be about hiding. It will be about showing Jax stood up to leave. Anything else? Professor. One more thing said. Thalvik's razor has stopped all aggressive displays. It lies calm. It waits. It only moves when you are close. Why, Jax thought. Then he answered simple, because it chose me. It's alpha. Now, not because I'm stronger. Because I'm scarier, and on Earth that's how it works. The scariest one leads. Professor Thalvik said nothing more. He watched Jax walk out the door, calm steps. No rush. The human left the office and disappeared down the hall. Later that day, the professor went to the enclosure alone. Razor lay curled in its bed of soft pads. It lifted its head when Thalvix approached. But it did not growl. It did not stand. It just looked past him toward the door. Like it waited for someone else. Professor Thalvik spoke soft to Hawk the Beast. You know, don't you? You know who rules here. Now Razor blinked slow. It lowered its head again. Rested its chin on paws. The big hunter looked peaceful. For the first time since arrival, it looked content. The professor left the lab. He walked back to his office thinking deep. The galaxy taught many lessons about survival, but this one felt new. A Deathworlder from a small blue planet walked in and turned everything upside down. Not with force, not with weapons, just with calm, just with a look. Just, with the knowledge that fear can flow the other way. Night came to the station. Lights dimmed. Halls grew quiet. Jack slept in his dorm. Simple dreams of forests and mountains. Back in the lab, Razor slept too. Its breathing slow and steady. For the first time it dreamed not of hunts but of following, of trusting. Of walking beside the one who smiled and made the world feel small. The academy kept turning. But something inside it had shifted forever. The real shock was not the predator in the cage. It was the human who walked free and made even monsters roll over in respect. The end of term came quick. The academy halls filled with excited chatter. Students packed their things, some planned trips home, others stayed for extra studies. In the xenobiology class, the final practical exam waited. Everyone knew it would be big. Professor Thalvix announced it days before. The task was simple. Get Razor to perform one basic command without using force. No stuns, no shocks, no tools, just words or gestures or presence. The command was sit and stay. The whole class would watch from the safe observation deck. The enclosure chamber got prepared. Extra lights shone bright. Clear walls got cleaned, so every angle showed perfect. Razor waited inside. It paced slow. At first, red eyes scanned the empty space. It looked bigger under the bright lights. Black fur gleamed. Muscles moved smooth under skin. The class gathered early. They sat in rows. Some brought snacks. Some held datapads ready to take notes. Many whispered about Jax first. C group went in, and a lorry team. 3 feathered students with bright colors. They stepped careful into the chamber. The field stayed up until they were ready. Then it dropped soft. The Allori raised hands, slow. They made gentle cooing sounds. They held out treats, sweet-smelling fruits from their homeworld. Razor looked at them once. It sniffed the air. Then it growled. Low ears went back. Tail lashed sharp. 1. Allori tried the command. Sit, please sit. Razor lunged forward fast. The field snapped back up, just indies, salute time. The students jumped out pale and shaking. Next came 2, Lyrith. Their crystals glowed soft blue. They walked in calm. They tried light pulses, gentle flashes like calming signals. Razor watched, bored. It yawned wide, showed all teeth. Then it turned away, ignored them. Complete. The Lyrith tried again. Crystals flashed brighter. Razor growled once, rolled its eyes. Then lay down, facing the other wall. The command failed again. A Vaughn team tried next. 4 cadets with steady tentacles. They spoke firm. They used deep hums that sometimes worked on sea beasts back home. Razor lifted its head. It listened for a second. Then it stood up, walked to the far corner, sat with back turned. The Vaughn tried hand signals. They tried food lures. Nothing worked. Razor stayed put, like it waited for something else. The class grew restless. Murmurs filled the deck. Professor Thalvix watched quiet. His 6 arms crossed tight. He knew what came next. Jack stood up last. He walked down the steps. Calm. No rush, no nerves. He reached the chamber. On clear walls. Razor turned fast. It saw Jack's clear walls. Razor turned fast. It saw Jack's and froze. Red eyes went wide. Tail stopped moving. Ears perked straight up. The big beast took 1 step forward, then another. It moved slow, careful, like it feared breaking something. Jack stood still in the middle of the floor. He looked at Razor calm. No grin this time. Just steady gaze. Jack's slow back legs bent. Front legs followed. It lowered. Slow back legs bent. Front legs followed. It sat perfect. Tall and straight eyes never left. Jack's. The class made small gasps. Some covered mouths. Jack's nodded. Good. Now stay. He stood up slow. He took 3 steps to the side. Razor stayed put. It watched him close. Tail flicked once, happy, then settled. The beast looked. Our content. Like this was the most natural thing. Jax walked a full circle around the chamber. Razor turned head to follow, but body stayed rooted. Paws planted firm. Professor Thalvix checked the timer. 30 seconds, 40-50. The command held perfect. No force, no trick. Just trust. Jack stopped in front. He crouched again. He reached out slow. His hand touched the soft fur behind Razor's ears. He scratched gentle, the way humans do with pets. For thousands of years, Razor leaned in. A deep rumble started in its chest, not growl. Purr loud enough to vibrate the glass walls. The class stared wide-eyed. Some fainted. Elori fell back. Feathers white, lyrith crystals flashed wild colors. Vaughn ink squirted in shock patterns across seats. Professor Thalvik's voice cracked over the speaker. Class dismissed. Permanently, he sounded stunned. Happy and stunned at once. Jax kept scratching. Razor rolled over. Slow. Belly up pause. An airtail wagging slow. The big Class 9 hunter looked small now. Safe. Happy? Jax rubbed the soft fur. The purr grew louder. The chamber filled with the sound. Outside the deck, students stood frozen. Then chaos broke. Some cheered, some cried, some ran to tell friends. The academy would talk about this day forever. Later in the big atrium, students gathered. Jax walked out with Razor beside him. No leash, no field. The beast trotted close. Heel perfect like a trained dog. Faculty watched from balconies. Security stayed back, hands on stuns, but unused. Razor ignored them all. It looked only at Jax, a brave Elori. Student stepped forward, feathers still pale. Why does it follow you like that? She asked. Jax looked down at Razor. It looked up with calm red eyes. He smiled. Small. Simple, on Earth. We didn't survive by being fastest or strongest. We survived by being the scariest thing the predators ever met. We made them back down. We made them join us. Turns out that lesson works. Even out here, Razor chirruped soft. Happy sound. It bumped its head against Jack's leg, gentle. The human patted its shoulder. The class watched quiet. Saw her to stand and say, I am not afraid, Jax. To stand and say, I am not afraid. Jax walked toward the lift. Razor followed close, tail high. The station lights shone bright. Stars spun outside. The academy kept turning. But something new lived inside now. A Deathworlder from a blue planet showed the galaxy a simple truth. predators can become pets. When the right alpha walks in quiet and unafraid. In the empty chamber, the observation deck lights dimmed. Slow. The big room stood silent. But the echo of that purr lingered like a promise, like a change, like the start of something bigger. The human Deathworlder shocked them all. Not by killing, not by fighting, by taming, with nothing more than a hand, and a voice and a heart that refused to run. Razor trotted happy beside its new friend. The galaxy just got a little smaller, a little safer, a little stranger, and a whole lot more interesting because one human said, "Sit," and the beast listened.